life, the bright lights, the type the crowd likes. Where you at, ballers? Ladies love me and men, they wanna be me, they pay to come see me. Where you at, ballers?
Pacers at Cavaliers, 7 o'clock in Cleveland. Big time ball in the Central. A top lead in this game, Cleveland -3. This is a very important game for the Eastern playoffs, and Cleveland is only one game up on Indiana, with both teams theoretically having peak motivation in tonight's matchup. Cleveland has been terrible at home in recent history, 3-10 ATS last 13, and Indiana has been great on the road, 7-3 ATS last 10. I don't think that applies here in a divisional matchup, the fourth one of the year, with Cleveland winning the previous one in Indiana, 108-103. Books think that will continue, moving the line from a heavy Indiana home line -7 to Cleveland -2.5. Books don't have to jump the line that big. They are confirming Cleveland will back up success against Indiana with more success, and the urgency will be real on Friday night at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Cleveland by 9 is the expectancy. If you want to bet this game, NBA Shot Clock, a lean or an official on every game. Buy the Cavaliers at -3, and let's cash this ticket.
Bulls at Wizards. Junior Brown back with NBA Shot Clock on this Friday, April 12th with another free pick, and we're rocking with the Bulls -1. It's not an official though, it's just a lean. Too many questions for it to be an official. Once I get lineup data, Chicago would be the play, just to not overcomplicate this, because this video does not need to be long. The play is Chicago or nothing. Now, there's no scenario that I can imagine where the line goes the other way, where it becomes Chicago -2 or -3, because that does not make any sense. There's no lineup data for the Wizards that's going to move the lineup in Chicago's favor. So it would only be that Chicago's playing their full lineup, which they have no reason to. They're locked into the 9th spot. They're going to be hosting the Atlanta Hawks in the play-in tournament. That's been set for a while. So on top of the fact that the Bulls starters all played heavy minutes last night. So this line is an indication that Chicago will probably rest a couple guys. The Wizards lineup is all over the place, so you kind of don't know what you're getting there. So the actual play, right now the lean is Chicago -1, but the actual play is Chicago or nothing. Obviously, if the line for some weird reason goes the other way, where it's Chicago -2, -3, stay away from that. It's Chicago -1 or better or nothing. That's the official. Let's cash another ticket, y'all.
Magic at Sixers, NBA Shot Clock. Friday, April 12th, 2024. Best bet of the day, Orlando +7, 1 unit. Orlando is in the final game of a 3-game road trip off back-to-back margin losses at Houston and at Milwaukee. Houston outshot them, Milwaukee outcompeted them, as Orlando was on the back end of a 3rd-and-4 back-to-back fatigue spot. Now Orlando gets a chance to regroup and return to where they were 18-7-1 ATS in their prior 26 road games. Elite level road basketball. Orlando is currently tied with Indiana for the 5th or 6th seed, and Philadelphia is only 1 game back. So this game has huge importance in the Eastern playoff standings. Does Philadelphia need this game too? Absolutely. They don't need this game by margin, as we expect this game to be tight. Philadelphia comes into tonight's game far too hot. 6-0 ATS last 6 consecutive wins. And Joel Embiid might not play in this game. If Joel doesn't play, Philadelphia reverts back to a team led by Tyrese Maxey that was 3-10 ATS at home during Embiid's prior injury absence. This is the 3rd matchup of the year, a double revenge game for Orlando off 2 margin home losses on December 27th and January 29th. In the most recent matchup, Philadelphia was a -5 road favorite. Now at home, -6.5 open, notably short, indicating a Philadelphia victory tonight by at most 5 points. Big time basketball, the best bet of the day. NBA shot clock on this Friday. Orlando +7, 1 unit. Let's dominate.
Hornets at Celtics. Junior Brown back with NBA shot clock on this Friday, April 12th with another free pick. We're rocking with the Celtics first half -4.5. If you've been watching the Celtics last couple of games, they're already in playoff mode. Getting their guys some rest. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown haven't played. They've only played one fourth quarter in the last 4 games. They are on a 2-game losing streak. I do expect them to take this first half very seriously for a couple of reasons. One, they've been by far the best first half team in the league. It is the ticket that has cashed the most in the NBA. And I just don't see a scenario where the Celtics are going to be okay with going into the playoffs on a losing streak. They've already lost 2 in a row, and they're going to still want to get their starters reps before the playoffs. Now, I want nothing to do with the Celtics full game because, again, they're not playing their starters in the fourth quarter, no matter what the scenario is. If you watch the Sacramento game, the Kings went on a 16-2 run. And Missoula would not put the starters back in, even though they almost lost that game. They needed the Kings needed almost like a miracle basket at the end to end up winning that game. So wins and losses are not the Celtics' priority right now. Getting reps is the priority, and as long as they do that in the first half, especially at home, -4.5 is a pretty short number for a Celtics team that has a double-digit net rating in the first half on the season. So I feel like we're getting a pretty short line here. I'm not one to pass up a sale. My best bet of the day, Celtics -4.5 at home. Let's cash another ticket, y'all.
Nets at Knicks. Big time basketball. Madison Square Garden on a Friday. The buy hat is engaged. A top lean in this game, New York Knicks -10.5. New York returns home on a back-to-back off a huge win in Boston last night. Where they have underperformed this year on the second leg of a back-to-back, 4-8 ATS. We have to look at those covers, however. Washington, Charlotte, Toronto, and Utah. What's the commonality there? Non-playoff teams. And where is Brooklyn? Not in the playoffs. The only thing Brooklyn has to play for right now is pride, and there's not a lot of pride in this group off a lackluster game against hapless Toronto in their previous outing. Brooklyn is 5-10 ATS on the road since the All-Star break, mostly covers against non-playoff teams, not angry teams like the Knicks. The Knicks have already covered and won outright 3 times against Brooklyn this year, this being the final matchup, and books are telling us another blowout is coming. In the most recent matchup on March 23rd at Madison Square Garden, the Knicks did win by 12 on a 7.5, now an 11 open, indicating Knicks by 15 on the average. Buy the Knicks tonight. The buy hat is engaged. Knicks -10.5. Let's dominate.
Hawks at Wolves. Junior Brown back with NBA Shot Clock on this Friday, April 12th, with another free pick, and we're rocking with the Minnesota Timberwolves. -13, pretty big number. You'd be surprised, I'm sure a lot of people listening to this would be surprised to know that Minnesota wins their games by an average of 6.8 per game, which is the second highest margin of victory in the NBA behind the Boston Celtics. So even though Minnesota's offense is average to below average, because of their super elite defense, they are able to win their games by margin. Now, this is actually more of a fate of the Atlanta Hawks, though, because if you watch the Hawks' last game, it seems like they're going to try and get their starters some rest, avoid injury. Unfortunately for them, Jalen Johnson had a pretty bad ankle sprain, which is really a death blow to their season, honestly. I don't see them winning their play-in game. Without Jalen Johnson, I don't see them winning or even competing tonight without him. And it's more than him, right? DeJounte Murray is most likely not going to play. Trae Young is back, but he's on a minutes restriction. Seems like Clint Capella might be on a minutes restriction as well. I'm sure Quinn Snyder's not trying to lose anyone else before they play the Bulls in the play-in game. So give me the Wolves by margin against a depleted Hawks team. And if you just want to look for the motivation factor, that's definitely with Minnesota because they're still fighting with Oklahoma City for second place in the Western Conference, and that is very important to both of these teams. Even though these two teams have been elite during the regular season, I'm talking about the Thunder and the Wolves, they have no playoff experience. So home court advantage is crucial to both these teams, which is why I expect maximum effort from the Wolves, who will be licking their wounds after losing out on the first place in the Western Conference by losing to Denver in their last game. Give me the motivated, hungry Wolves against the depleted Hawks. -13, official play. Let's cash another ticket, y'all.
Raptors at Heat, 8 o'clock in Miami. A top lean in this game, Miami -14.5. Toronto has been effective on the road since gutting their roster. 10-8 ATS last 18. Coming off of a tight loss, yet cover on the road in Brooklyn in their previous game. This team has performed well on the road, not staying on the road off a previous cover. Only 2-4 ATS in this specific calendar spot. This is the third matchup of the year, and Miami's coming off of a highly insulting blowout loss in Toronto on January 17th. Final score that night, Toronto 121, Miami 97. Toronto outscoring Miami by 42 points from the three-point line, shooting a scorching hot 53%, including 8 for 9, 88% from Gary Trent Jr., who will not be playing tonight. This line is indicating a blowout. It's a revenge game. The motivation is all over Miami in this spot for playoff seeding. If you want to bet this game, a top lean, Miami -14.5. Let's cash this ticket.
Rockets have Blazers. Junior Brown back with NBA Shot Clock on this Friday, April 12th with another free pick. And this is just a lead. It's not an official. We're taking the Rockets -5. It's really up to who the Rockets play tonight. Not sure where Ime Udoka's head's at. He benched Jalen Green last night. He only played 18 minutes, but Fred VanVleet played 40. This is a coach who is still so intense that he'll bench your ass even in meaningless games with like 2 to 3 games left in the season. I think a lot of these Houston guys are playing for their spot next season. So I'm not really sure they're going to take their foot off the gas. We already know that Portland's been done competing for a couple of weeks. So it's really, is Udoka going to play his regular guys, or is he going to let his guys sit out after playing heavy minutes last night in Utah? Not really sure about that, but that's the only determining factor, because I promise you cannot be taking points with the Portland Trail Blazers, at least not 5 points. You're going to need double digits to be taking points with the Blazers. The way they're playing and with the guys that they're giving heavy minutes to. So the lean is Houston -5 until we get more lineup data. You already know what it is. Let's cash another ticket.
Lakers at Grizzlies, 8 o'clock, FedEx Forum. A top official play. The buy hat is engaged. Lakers -15, 1 unit. The Lakers were hot, 9-1 straight up over a 10-game sample, before cratering down and going 0-2 last 2 in their home gym on Sunday and Tuesday versus Western contenders Minnesota and Golden State. Let that be what it is. Now the Lakers return to where they have been excellent in recent history. 3-0 ATS on the road at non-playoff teams if on full rest. The Lakers currently sit in the 9th spot, only a half game ahead of the Warriors, needing this game and needing this game with emphasis. Memphis comes home off a cover at Cleveland the other night to where they have underperformed in recent history, going 3-7 ATS at the Grindhouse, with those 3 covers coming against Washington, Detroit, and a tight game against Oklahoma City, where they completely outliered the Thunder from the 3-point line. This is the 4th matchup of the year, and in the most recent game, also in Memphis, the Lakers did clean up the Grizzlies, 136 to 124, the line being -4.5. If books thought Memphis was going to be competitive, they would be holding the line around 4.5, not moving it up. Eight full points, suggesting a win by 21 on the average. This is where the Lakers take care of business. It is an opportunity to dominate. The buy hat is engaged. Lakers minus 15, 1 unit official.
Jazz at Clippers. Junior Brown back with NBA Shot Clock on this Friday, April 12th with another free pick. We're rocking with the Clippers team total over 119. My initial lead was the Utah team total under, but it's only 105. The Clippers are one of the 3 worst defenses in the league post All-Star break, so I can't really trust them on that front. I'm really just fading the Jazz here. I kind of watched the Jazz game yesterday because I kind of want to see who they're playing or what their mindset is to close out the season. And they legitimately had 3 guys starting yesterday that I've never seen play basketball before. It's kind of weird. Now you're asking a bunch of guys, and they had like 8 guys play over 20 minutes, maybe even 9 guys play over 20 minutes, which is not normal in any NBA roster. You got a bunch of guys who are not used to getting regular NBA minutes. Now you're asking them to go on the road in a back-to-back scenario against a wounded animal, because that's what the Clippers are. They're going into the playoffs wounded. We don't know what Kawhi's injury status is. James Harden's had a foot problem for a while. Westbrook and Paul George missed the last game, but apparently they're going to be playing tonight, which is one of the other reasons why I'm taking the over 119. It's just a weird game to cap, and I just think that the easiest play or the smartest play, the play that has the most value, would be to fade these inexperienced Jazz players. So give me the Clippers over 119, looking to get right before the playoffs. They're pretty much locked into the 4 spot where they're going to play the Mavericks in the first round and most likely get sent home, in my opinion. But that's neither here nor there. As far as this game tonight, give me the Clippers team total over 119. Let's cash yet another ticket, y'all.
Bucks at Thunder, 8 o'clock. Paycom Center in Oklahoma City. A top lean in this game, Oklahoma City minus 13.5. The Bucks come into tonight's game with a roster that is without Giannis, Lillard, Middleton, and Lopez. That can mean one of 2 things. Either the backups play great and OKC plays down to the moment, or OKC blows them out of the gym. This OKC team, led by SGA and a very great young coach, Mark Daigneault, do not lay down to bad teams in their home gym, going 12-3 ATS this year at home versus non-playoff competition. For the sake of this conversation and this line number, we will call this current Milwaukee roster a non-playoff team. OKC also has significant motivation in this game, having lost 6 consecutive games to Milwaukee, including a blowout loss on March 24th in Milwaukee, 118-93. On that given afternoon, Oklahoma City shot 10 for 43 from the 3-point line, 23.3%, and got blown out in the second half, 70-46. Oklahoma City is tied with Minnesota for the 2 or 3 seed, 1 back of Denver for the 1 seed. The motivation is real, and Milwaukee without Giannis seems resigned to their fate to finish the season with some losses on the road. If you want to bet this game, a lean in this game, buy Oklahoma City to take down the Bucks for the first time in a couple years, and with margin, OKC minus 13.5. Let's dominate.
Suns at Kings. Junior Brown back with NBA Shot Clock on this Friday, April 12th with another free pick. And we're rocking with the over 225.5 in this game. Told y'all yesterday the degree of difficulty is just way too high for the Kings with the injury issues that they have, which is why I gave y'all the Pelicans +1. The same issues that I mentioned came back to bite them in the ass last night. Again, De'Aaron Fox played 40 minutes last night. Keegan Murray, who was questionable, played over 35 minutes. Domantas Sabonis played like 37 minutes. If the top end of your roster is going to continue to play such high minutes, especially with such a thin roster on the back end, there are going to be consequences. And the consequences so far have been that they've gone 1-4 since Malik Monk's injury, which coincided with Kevin Huerter being announced out for the season with shoulder-ending surgery, or season-ending surgery on his shoulder, excuse me. So, I say all that to say, I'm going with the trends in this game, the season trends between these two teams. So they played each other 4 times, and in the first 2 games, they were under 95 possessions, and these games went under this 225.5 total, and the Kings won both of these games. In the next 2 games, both teams had over 100 possessions. Phoenix won those games, and the totals were both over this 225.5. Now, with Phoenix coming into this game with the rest advantage, plus they've already seen that pushing the pace works in their favor against the Sacramento team, I just don't see how Sacramento's going to be able to keep the score for the Phoenix Suns low. And it's not like Phoenix's defense is great. It's okay. I just think that these two teams will combine to score over 225.5, because I do believe that the trend of them getting over 100 possessions each will continue, which is why I'm going with this play over 225.5. Let's cash another ticket, y'all.
Nuggets at Spurs, 8 o'clock. Frostbank Center in San Antonio. A top lean in this game, Spurs plus 11. Denver comes into tonight's game off a huge home win against Minnesota, all but securing the 1 seed in the West. We think Denver will win this game tonight, but we don't think full effort will be there, and the game will finish inside of 10 points. In the last 6 months this season, Denver has been consistently unimpressive versus non-playoff competition. They win the game, they don't play 4 quarters of their top ball, and San Antonio is 7-4 at home at the Frostbank Center since the All-Star game against the spread. This is the 4th matchup of the year, and San Antonio has competed great against Denver all year, losing by 12, 11, and most recently in Denver on April 2nd by 5. San Antonio's closing the gap. Wemby is balling out, and this will be a tight game tonight. Buy San Antonio at plus 11 as a top lean, and let's cash this ticket.
Pelicans at Warriors. Junior Browne back with NBA Shot Clock on this Friday, April 12th with another free pick. We're rocking with the Pelicans plus 2.5 in the first half. I do understand Golden State has been the hottest team in the league other than Dallas, both 9-1 in their last 10. I do think that Golden State's schedule has been a little bit soft. Not trying to disrespect them. All you can do is beat the teams put in front of you. But I don't want to overreact to the 9-1, especially because I still do believe, even without Brandon Ingram, the Pelicans are just a better basketball team. And I'm also going by the numbers. I've repeated this ad nauseum, guys. The Pelicans are one of 2 teams in the NBA that have a double-digit net rating in the first half. It's them and the Celtics. So if you're going to say the Celtics are elite, you have to at least say that the Pelicans are closer to elite than what Golden State is. Now, again, I'm not trying to disrespect the Warriors. I'm going by a season-long trend over 82 games, right? The Warriors have played 80 games, the Pelicans have played 80 games, so the sample size is massive. And if you want to say, well, the Pelicans are on the road, guess who's the number 2 team in net rating in the NBA in the first half on the road? You guessed it, the Pelicanos. So I'm going by the Pelicans, who still have an eye on the Phoenix Suns, who are only 1 game behind them with two games left to play. So the Pelicans can't exactly take their foot off the gas. I'm not sure I would back them full game, just because I think the Warriors, the way they're playing, and their desperation to move up in the standings and host the play-in game still makes them the more motivated team. But I do believe in the Pelicans, especially in the first half, as much as it's cash for me all season. I ain't gonna jump off the bandwagon at this point. So give me the Pelicans plus 2.5 first half. Let's cash another ticket, y'all.
Pistons at Mavericks. Out of conference basketball, 8:30. American Airlines Center in Dallas. A top lean in this game, under 218. This is the second matchup of the year between these teams. The first one played on March 9th in Detroit, an extreme over, 142 to 124. In that game, Dallas shot 56% from the field, Detroit 46. The teams combined for 81 points from 3, and Cade Cunningham scored 33 points. We expect none of those to continue into tonight's game, and neither do the books. moving the line down from 237.5 way over to 218.5. You ask yourself why? Dallas is playing great defense. In their last 15 games, throwing out one overtime outlier versus Houston, Dallas is holding their opponents to 102.5 points per game. That's a pretty big sample, and it's very impressive. Dallas is also 5-1 ATS versus the under in their last 6 home games, and Detroit offensively is poor. 26th offensive rating, 29th in three-pointers, 26th in points per game, and removing Cunningham and his 30 a night off the roster. This screams under. The books like the under. We like the under. If you want to bet this game, bet the under at 218.5, and let's cash this ticket.